Hello, everyone. We will wait for a minute. I still see people joining. Then we will start. All right. I think we can start right now. Hello, everyone, again, and welcome. We are kickstarting 2026 webinar series of detection and intelligence highlights. So I'm Ertugrul. I'm a senior PMM here, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Andrey, staff product manager. It has been a little while since Andrey was last on the session, so it's great to have him back on the stream today. Hi, Andrey.
Hi, Ertu. Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. So, picking up exactly where we left off in December last month, our goal remains the same. So we want to provide a look at what our labs team has been shipping in a digestible way. So focusing on the why behind the latest VTIs, VMRay threat identifiers, YARA rules, and configuration extractors and all that good stuff. And this month, we are sharpening our focus on phishing. And specifically, we'll be talking about some tactics like Clickfix, paste checking, which is still very prominent these days. And hopefully, when you leave this session, you have useful context you can take back to your daily workflows. And a few quick housekeeping items before we dive in. The session is being recorded. We get that link into your inbox within the next few days. And we allow questions. Please type your questions into the chat as they come up. We leave time at the end to address them. And with that, let's get into it. So what's ahead of us? It's actually kind of a logical flow. What we flag and detect via VTIs, the high-level detection logic, we are going to start with that. We have a VTI to share. How we classify threats and extract data via YARA rules and config extractors. And then how we automate it. So with a realistic demo setup, including a Clickfix sample. And the automation spotlight, it is a brand new segment as part of these webinars. We know that a sandbox shouldn't be an island, right? And Andrey is going to walk us through the new integration, new KnowBe4 VMRay connector. And he'll show how to take a suspicious email reported by an employee, a user, and how to get a high confidence verdict back into your KnowBe4 Fisher specifically console without manual intervention. And so to start with, here is the only and very high signal update on the VTI front that simply targets the infrastructure of the attack rather than just the final payload. And lately, we have seen a spike in phishing campaigns using two specific methods to fly under the radar. One is the open redirects, and the other is the click tracking services, marketing services. And essentially, the attacker uses a trusted domain, nothing new, to bounce the user to fake login page. And now, usually, our engine catches the phishing page itself based on its content or the using computer vision AI. So we wanted to this time explicitly flag when a login form is served immediately following these types of redirects. And so multiple conditions should exist together. That's what actually makes it a meta VTI. And on the slide here, you can see how the clicked URL might look like. We maintain a list of abused domains as well, and that helps. And honestly, this redirection thing often frustrating because it feels like there is no silver bullet to stop a trusted domain from being misused. And in our world, the philosophy is kind of first you make it visible, first you flag it, then you make it detectable. And every time we improve this visibility, it's a small win to eventually catch the, for example, multi-stage advanced delivery chains. And this is one of the updates Andrey will touch on today in the demo as well. And by the way, just wanted to get your opinion here, Andrey. So Meta VTI is also kind of safety net, right? So even if the last page, for example, that we are landing looks perfect, like not malicious, still the chain of events that led the user there will trigger a high score VTI. So this is a signal still around the maliciousness, right?
Absolutely. I believe that the last page in your example is definitely something malicious.
Yeah, right.
But overall, yes, having meta VTIs and using meta VTIs is sort of a product based on our architecture due to the architecture of VMRay and all this hypervisor layer story. We are able of picking up very weak signal, tying them together, and then producing reliable output, even if none of the steps that were taken by malware was something like really big bad thing.
Yeah, we are gonna, I think, speak quite a lot about those redirections and legit infra today. And the next thing that I would like to move on to is around the legit infra, actually. So an update to our auto UI. This is namely automatic user interaction. And this is really the kind of the secret sauce that allows us to analyze those redirection chains, right, Andrey? We just talked about, that without really having to manually click through a browser, right, Andrey? This is what auto UI is.
Yeah, we constantly add the capability to click where normal user is expected to click. And that's the big part of our phishing research and phishing analysis domain within the company. So yeah, we constantly bring in new features. We can follow the common redirects, obviously, but also we can open documents in OneDrive somewhere else, and with this one, with the legit infra, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also something to highlight is, I mean, when something is automatic and in a sandbox setting, so automated analysis setting, I think the one thing that's important would be what to click, and I'm going to share an update here on that front, but also what not to click in terms of from the efficiency perspective, right? So we gotta know exactly what to analyze. So that's actually where Auto UI gets regular updates around what to click or not.
Oh yeah, we have a huge logic behind what to click and what not to click.
Yeah, there's an ongoing improvement on that front. And here we specifically improved how this engine actually handles SharePoint and OneDrive and the links, these platforms. We actually had some great customer feedback on this, telling about an attack with a malicious link directly on a SharePoint folder, which was occasionally causing the automation to pause. And we now tuned the logic to recognize these elements as interactive targets. So whether it's a SharePoint or homepage or OneDrive, Auto UI now knows exactly where to click. In this screenshot, you can see a URL added to SharePoint. So we can keep the chain moving and by knowing exactly where to click, right? And the goal is here is simple. Again, ensuring we pull in the final payload, or whether it is a phishing form or a payload or malware. So every single time. So completely hands-off for the analyst. And I think when it comes to the automation, this is going to play a big role.
That's the only reason why automation works. You
Yeah,
certainly
definitely.
don't want to get just the captcha page as a result of your automation. You will have zero visibility into what is behind the captcha. And in many cases, you wouldn't be able even to recognize whether this captcha is a real captcha or some fake that was created by the attackers to fool users. So yeah, being able to click through this is something that sets VMRay apart, but also something that allows us to play within automation scenarios for our customers.
Yeah, some of our audience actually would remember that we highlighted the CAPTCHA improvements in one of the last sessions. So it's really an ongoing battle.
Always, always. Same
Yeah.
with QR codes.
Yay, I'm going to touch on that as well. So yeah, as you mentioned, QR code, Andrey, here is an improvement that we would like to share with our audience. Another update, we introduced QR code, I think years ago, but the tactics have evolved, and that there's no surprise there. And we seeing more malformed or cleverly hidden QR codes, especially designed to break, standard filtering, standard scanners. And I mean, simply to stay ahead, we needed to have a multi-engine approach. And instead of relying on a single library, right now the platform supports several independent libraries in parallel. Also, not only PDF parser, but we also utilize PDF renderer. So that's coming into play as well. So by merging these results from multiple sources, we can now decode a much broader range of obfuscated codes that a single library would simply ignore. And so really removing one more blind spot in your automated email flow analysis. So moving on to the Yara rules front, high volume of activity going on here, and we pushed out a large batch of rules this month. And check out our blog really for the full list. So here I want to highlight just some specific trends. First, the legitimate RMM tools, that's also often classified as PUAs, potentially unwanted applications, if I'm not wrong. And attackers are kind of not moving away, but time to time they leverage these trusted tools, like, for example, LogMeIn or GoToResolve. To a standard EDR, this looks like an admin activity, but with our new era rules, we are flagging these when they appear in suspicious contexts. And the second highlight here is, of course, in the typically in the background of almost every phishing attack, the infrastructure side of things. We added a suite of rules again, fake captchas that we spoke in detail in the last webinar. Also redirector pages that we touched on here, Clickfix campaigns. Again, we are going to speak about these, but in the background, actually, there have been updates around these newly seen campaigns on the Yara rule front as well. So we utilize Yara rules to detect fish kits and all that new attack tactics. So moving on, before the fun part begins, one last note: config extractor for MetaStealer. It's popped up in 2022 as a kind of evolution of Redline, and even after the massive Operation Magnus by law enforcement, it was a global takedown in late 2024, is still very much alive, and the actors seem to pivot to the Clickfix and paste checking as well. And on top of the existing error rules we had, now we added extractor to pull the C2s and campaign IDs and all that good juicy stuff. And that was kind of it on my part. With that, I will hand it over to Andrey to walk us through the magic around KnowBe4 VMRay integration. Andrey, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ertu. Let me steal the
I feel like I've been talking for ages.
I think exactly 15 minutes.
All right. Not that bad.
Awesome. Yeah, and before I go into the presentation, there are two topics that we are going to cover today during the demo part, and I will flip the order. I will start with the visualization of advanced delivery chain and then move on to the new integration that we have just built with KnowBe4 phishing. Ertu, can you see my screen?
Yeah, here we go. We can see your screen, crystal clear.
Awesome. You see our fancy automation dashboard there?
Yes, we see that one.
Awesome. All right. Both features, both visualization of the delivery chains and the integration with phishing are parts of our new release that happened a little bit longer than a week ago. And they both bring a lot of improvements into phishing, but also malware analysis. And let me quickly start with the visualization, and then we will pivot, like I said, to the KnowBe4 integration. Since the whole session today was mostly about phishing, because clicking in infra is about following the delivery chain that usually starts with phishing, although it can end with malware. And the QR codes is something that we triage daily as the part of our first line activity in the SOC. Also, many of the, I think that at least some of the Yara rules were about phishing improvements as well. I have decided to follow the trend. So my boss examples today would be about phishing. And let's start with the first one. So imagine a user. Let it be me, for example. I don't know. It's the user is Voitenko, but let's imagine the fictional company, which is called Horn and Hooves, and they do whatever they do. The user receives an email that urges him to open up the PDF document and do something with it. There is a password behind the document. Looks a bit suspicious as long as you see 401 in the subject of the email. It already looks a little bit suspicious, but let's dive in and look into what exactly is the attachment. As promised, the attachment is password protected. Again, it's not recommended to do this, to let your own users do that. But since we have a harmless example here, I will just demonstrate the whole sequence of the email and artifacts there, and then we'll pivot to what VMRay gives you when you submit this EML file into VMRay. So the password was Hooves 2026. We have some PDF here with some URL. I will stop right there because it can lead us to some phishing web page. When analyst in the stock receives such an email and needs to do a triage and understand whether this is a real fish or that's something harmless because there is some 401 update in the company. A good idea is to submit the whole email to VMRay and see what exactly would happen. Not necessarily VMRay, that can be also any other sandbox, but by just showing you the analysis, I will explain why exactly using VMRay for that definitely makes sense. So let me pivot to the sample itself. I have submitted the whole EML file. Obviously, it came out to look as malicious. And the reason for this verdict was the attachment, as we see here. The attachment actually is something malicious. We can switch to the attachment analysis and see that the PDF was a password protected one. However, we were able to get the password out of the email body and correctly open up the PDF. Everything was okay with the PDF. We have analyzed it on many different environments. Nothing is wrong. No exploits are there. However, there was a URL embedded into the PDF, and that URL actually turned to be malicious. If we look into URL analysis, and that's the URL that we were able to extract from the PDF, we can see that. I hope you can still see my screen, Ertu. Can you?
Yeah, we see the IP address and human
IP address. Yes. Let's say we clicked. Let's say we go there, and that's the beauty of VMRay. It can follow the chain for you. It can extract attachment. It detonates attachment automatically. You don't need to do anything. It extracts URL from the attachment, then opens up this URL like this. And what we see now is sort of the fake CAPTCHA, which turns out to be the famous or infamous, if you will, Clickfix page. You are supposed to hold Windows, then R, then Control V, and then click Enter. So that's why web analysis has identified that there was a possible page jacking attempt or Clickfix attempt, we call it page jacking. But what happened next was we extracted the payload from the clipboard and resubmitted it recursively as a batch file. And it turned out to be a deer stealer, as you see here. What is also interesting is that the analysis came out to be malicious on two environments, on Windows 10 and Windows 11. However, on Windows 7, both operating system, everything was fine. So it's pretty important to detonate whatever you want to detonate, not in just one of the environments, not just on Windows 7 or just Windows 11. Sometimes what works on Windows 10 doesn't work on Windows 7. Sometimes it's vice versa, because sometimes attackers target really old and outdated and not patchable systems. Yeah. However, all of this beauty, all of this recursive analysis with extraction and resubmission and recursive submission was there for quite a while already. Just some of the customers were not aware about that. That's why I wanted to make a sort of a refresher for that. What changed with the current release is that all the relations, all analysis chain is now present on the relation tab. So without opening up extra analysis and looking what exactly was wrong, you can just go to relations and see there the whole attack chain from the entry point, which is an email file, down to the payload that was extracted from the clipboard on the Clickfix page. And of course, you can dive into every single analysis that you may want to dive and get all the details there. I'm really super excited about this one. It simplifies the analysis. It also shows you all the relation so that you don't need to jump between child submission and child samples and parent samples anymore. And it allows you to really quickly understand which exactly step was wrong, when things become bad, and what should you hunt for and look for within your environment. Are you excited, Ertugrul?
Yes, I was just checking out some questions from the audience.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Sure. Then let me switch to the next one, which is an integration with KnowBe4. As we already discussed a couple of times, VMRay is more and more used by our customers to triage phishing, and obviously we support the movement into automation because humans are too important to just triage regular phishing emails. And for that purpose, we have received a lot of requests from our customers to integrate not with just the typical source systems, but also looked into the user-reported phishing platforms. We did that. We have decided to start with KnowBe4 integration, our dear partner that helped us a lot when we build this integration. And the whole idea behind the integration is that VMRay now is capable of logging in to your KnowBe4 PhishER account, picking up all the samples that were submitted into KnowBe4 PhishER and detonating them and bringing back into the PhishER the verdict, but also the link to the full report of the email that was submitted to VMRay. To set up the connector, and that's just 1 minute. It really takes you no longer than 5 minutes to set up the whole thing. You would need a couple of things. You would need to give it a name. You would need to give it a URL to your KnowBe4 instance. I'm sure you know it. And then within the KnowBe4 PhishER, you would need to get an API ticket an API token in order to be able to access to be able to access Graph API from KnowBe4. Then you need to decide how often you want to run this enrichment. Again, you don't need to host anything. The whole job is done by VMRay. We will periodically, every 5 minutes in this example, log into your PhishER, pull all the newly reported emails, detonate them, and bring back the results. You have a bunch of settings on top of that here. I wanted to point out that when you are working, when you work with phishing, it makes sense to keep triage enabled. That can save you a lot of time, but also a lot of quota. And secondly, do not disable and preferably, and I really suggest you to keep link detonation as smart. All the other settings can be really left as it is, and you're done. Like I said, couple of minutes, you got the integration. Let's see where this integration will take us and what's the value of it. So let's switch to the PhishER console. I have created another example with the Clickfix as well. Same fake company, horns and hooves. The user is receiving another email that looks like they need to log into their mailbox for some reason, and the link to the mailbox within another password protected attachment. The user doesn't trust that, so she submits the link to the whole email to PhishER, and we can see the PhishER there. What I wanted to show here is that tone of voice is pretty okay. No super sense of urgency, no aggression, doesn't ask you for any of your credentials, doesn't make you pay any bills, so probably that will bypass most of the language models, the models that just study the body of the email. However, still there is an artifact here, and let's look exactly into what would happen with this artifact. So let's dive into one of the reported emails. I have submitted the same email twice, and we can also see that already in the KnowBe4 it was able to cluster both emails. We do have the email itself. We do have the fact that VMRay was able to identify that the email was malicious by detonating it. We do have the node from VMRay that would give you the link to the full analysis. Actually, I opened that one up for you. And as in the previous example, you see that we have an email found to be malicious. The reason it was malicious was because of the attachment, and so on and so on and so on. But just to illustrate that once again, let's click on the relations here. We will see two similar emails. Here they are. One that is submitted from root storage, another one that is also submitted from root storage. One is called cloud cleanup, another one is a forwarder of the cloud cleanup. They are both together here, tight, like really tight together, because they share the same attachment, because they also have, yeah, I think it would be better if I scroll. Because they share the same attachment, attachments are in green, because they contain same URLs, Microsoft and hornsandhooves.store, and then the same payload is extracted from the PDF, and then the payload is extracted from the web page, and we detonate it, and voila, we have the full analysis chain. However, what is interesting here is the third URL, the third email that appears here as the relation to the same thread, as the relation to the same URL. And if we take a look into our PhishER, this is the third email. We were able to correlate that they share, that they are the part of the same campaign, not because they had the same initial body or subject, or they were somehow similar, but because the payload that was extracted on one of the analysis steps, this URL, for example, was the same. So being able to build proper relations between objects in VMRay doesn't just give you the possibility to clearly see what was the attack chain. It also allows you to provide, to get more sophisticated identification of new campaigns that are targeting your company, even if they are coming from different sources. One is coming from email, another one is coming from EDR, and so on and so forth. That's why, again, using the visualization of complex delivery chain is something like really crucial. And I really hope that you like it and enjoy it, and you will start using it in all automated scenarios within your environment as well. Ertu, over to you.
Thank you, Andrey. It was a great demo, and it's really exciting to see this this map around the delivery chain. I think this was always something that was kind of asked from customers to have this visibility, right? So this is great to see. And around KnowBe4, I have a question here. Probably it would be relevant to raise this now. Do we have to pay for that service on our own, or is it included with VMRay? and we get access to the portal.
You mean KnowBe4?
Fisher, yeah.
PhishAir, yeah. PhishAir is
It's
a
a
product
separate
from
product that
KnowBe4.
you gotta have
Yes,
the
yes.
license, right?
It's
Yeah.
a platform from KnowBe4 that is available to, I think, all the diamond customers of KnowBe4, but I'm not that familiar with the licensing policy.
Yeah, fair enough. And another question, Andrey, is around the QR codes via ASCII code in the email, like drawn via ASCII, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but in the email body, is it supported? Or I think this is something we got to check and get back to the, uh,
Sure.
yeah. Or is it something that you know, or we got to check, right? Because there are many methods around these QR codes, and we got to check if the libraries that we just mentioned supporting this one as well to identification of this. Right. All right. And one other question is around Andrey. Probably it would be again nice to speak about the automation scenarios of where VMRay can get involved. Like one, we can talk about definitely KnowBe4. Now we have a connector, and that's very easy to set up and get up and running. But there are other scenarios, right? When the organization has no KnowBe4, but still would like to analyze phishing emails. Probably, can you speak a bit about that?
We can provide multiple integrations. We do integrate with KnowBe4, but also if you're not a KnowBe4 user, I don't know, you use your SOAR for that, Splunk or Cortex XSOAR or Google Chronicle or Torque or maybe something else, and you build up the whole playbook for phishing triage. You can always employ VMRay and do the analysis on every single URL and attachment that you see in emails. You can use VMRay to triage your EDR alerts. We have the connector to Sentinel-1. So dear Sentinel-1 users, if you want to look into what we've got for you, and look into extra enrichment on your Sentinel-1 alerts, because that's something that also saves a lot of time, a lot of effort, and also makes the whole process much more repeatable and scalable. You can use our integrated connector. If you are a Microsoft shop, you're looking into phishing triage and malware triage and threat intel generation, which is also a big use case for our customers. You can use VMRay for that as well. We have pretty unique integrations with Microsoft that will allow you to enrich alerts from Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Office, generate IOCs, put them in loop so that URLs are blocked if someone is trying to access them, but also generate the intel, throw it into Sentinel. The whole Microsoft stack is amazing, but I believe what we can do together, if I may, is even more exciting.
Yeah,
So yeah, lots of places where we can put VMRay into automation scenarios.
Yeah, I think one more addition could be, I don't know if I missed that, but abuse mailbox from VMRay.
Abuse mailbox for sure. If
Yeah.
it's not KnowBe4, if you want to set up your own, or you're using the platform from someone else, you can always use VMRay to detonate all the reported emails within us, and then give you the verdict and tell whatever you want to get out of it.
Yeah, definitely. And questions are kind of flooding in. Andrey, one more around the CAPTCHAs. So we observed that CAPTCHA is used as defense evasion to evade sandbox in automation. Are there any method to detect and continue to analyze even we have the CAPTCHA in the web page?
Yes.
We spoke about CAPTCHAs, but probably you have some notes around that as well.
Oh, I do. You can throw in capture in VMware and see what would happen. We pay a lot of attention since phishing research is, like I said, one of the two big things within VMRay, and phishing is becoming bigger and bigger for our customers. We pay a lot of attention to being able to bypass captchas that are presented that are hiding all those malicious and credential harvesting login forms. So just throw in the URL into VMRay. Do not enable automatic. Do not enable live interaction and see the results. We do have a lot of tech to click through those captures and give you the final credential harvesting page.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's all for now around the questions. So thank you, Andrey, again, for your contribution and your demo. And I'm gonna wrap up by actually saying that you can mark your calendars for the next edition of Detection and Intelligence Highlights on February 24th. And next month. And for those of you in Europe, there's an upcoming event where you can meet up with the folks from VMRay, from TF CSERT community. That's going to be a regional symposium in Spain on February 4th to 6th. So feel free to visit our booth and meet the folks there. And feel free to connect us on LinkedIn. Feel free to share your feedback and comments around the session and what you would like to see here from us. And I hope it was useful. So you have some takeaways to bring home. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining, and see you next time.
Thank you, Ertugrul. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.